Oh, hi guys. You're back. I don't know what's going on. Um, hey Patricia, thanks for coming back. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. It could be. I mean, is it possible that this is the beginning of the blackout? There we go. What do you think, Erwin? Is this? I mean, my computer is not. It's not as well lit as usual. Like something is happening to the power. I don't know what's going on. Are you guys? You guys are okay? Everything. Your computers are working. Hey Tara. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, we'll just try to do our best, I guess. Probably just a glitch, right? Not the great blackout. Every time something goes wrong with my computer, I'm ready for the 10 days of darkness. Could be my area, right? Could be New York City. That wouldn't surprise me. Um, yeah, because my computer is dark. It's not getting full power. It slows way down. Right. I mean, this could be the beginning of some kind of a blackout, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Probably just a glitch. Yeah, Erwin's right. But for sure, my screen is not the usual bright self. I don't really know what's going on. Anyway, um, Starlink. Yeah, that'll be nice. Oh, now it seems to be brightening up. Okay, so maybe it was just a little temporary thing. It's brightening up a little bit. Yeah, it'd be nice to have Starlink, and we won't be subject to these people. By the way, on Gateway Pundit, they're doing a real push this week to expose the bad guys. So that might be worth following. But I don't know if this is going to lead to some kind of a blackout. I mean, I know they've been saying that on the X-22 report quite a bit that we're due for a blackout, and it is right after Christmas. Right, but there's also going to be Starlink for everyone, I think, when the quantum financial system goes online. That all internet will be run from space. So here's the story that I heard. Anyway, maybe I won't go into the story. Let's just stick with, let's learn as much as we can. Anyway, I'm really struck by the fact that God has this conversation with Moses about whether or not he's qualified, and I think this works neatly in with the idea, this sort of global thing that's happening, that has happened, where people don't feel like they're qualified. I don't know why it's so dark. It's really driving me crazy. Um, and it doesn't seem to help when I turn on the brighter lights. It just makes it worse. Right, something might be up. Right, there was the EBS in Africa. Could be up. Let's hope things come in, because it was supposed to be, Washington crossed the Delaware on Christmas maybe night. I don't know. And that's when the victory, the war started to turn around. Bring it on. Yeah, really. Exactly. Well, at least we know what's up. I mean, the normies will be freaked out. I'm going to a protest today, by the way. Hopefully at 3 o'clock, they're walking across the Brooklyn Bridge again to protest. But yeah, I can barely see my computer screen. I don't know what's going on. I think the idea was that there would be so much information coming forth that the deep state couldn't protect itself, so they would do some kind of shutdown, and during that time, the good guys would finish the arrests. Glitch in the matrix, right? Okay. Anyway, so I guess the thing that I'm always startled by the fact that in the Chumash, in the Torah, they're not afraid to show people's like character. It's not They don't present people as being like perfect, or even really like completely evil in some ways. I mean, you have Amalek. I mean, those guys are certainly evil, but I don't know. They show you the complexity of characters, which I think is amazing. But so, oh, um, okay. So let's go to today's parsha. Oh, this is the beginning. This is from yesterday. It says, God rebuked Moses for having asked him, "Why have you mistreated this people?" By saying to him, "I am God. This is my proper name," which indicates that I can be relied upon to reward those faithful to me. For because of my transcendence, nothing can prevent me from fulfilling my promises. So he says, "Yet I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai," which means God Almighty, which is just an appellation indicating my omnipotence, when I promised them the land of Israel. Since I did not fulfill these promises in their lifetime, I was not manifest to them by my name, Havaya, which is the name above nature. My screen is really dark. Yeah, I mean, hey, Delmer. It sounds like they're going crypto. Yeah, I mean the QFS will be, I think, will be tied into cryptocurrency with gold and silver backed. They got all the gold out of the Vatican. My screen is just getting darker and darker. Don't know what's up. Hey, Baseman. Okay, so I was saying to Tara yesterday, we were talking about this whole thing of God introducing himself by his real name Havaya, or not his real name, but the name Havaya, which means God as he is above nature, transcendent God. This is the four-letter name of God. And yeah, we talked about yesterday about how his previous level had to be withdrawn in order to go up to this higher level. I can't see anything. I look bright. Okay, that's good. Mendel, do you know why my screen is so dark? Ah, okay. My son just fixed it. Okay, now I'm back. Now I'm back in action. Now I can create. Oh, not much of a fisherman. Gotcha. I was a fisherman until I became religious, and now I don't catch fish as much. I catch other kinds of. I connect to spirituality in other ways. I consider fishing a spiritual activity. You connect through a fine line to the unknown. But anyway, Moses says, "Thank you so much, Mendel." So Moses says you have to leave your previous level. You have to leave slavery in order to taste freedom, and that's so. God said, I address the others by another name, but to you, I'm going to call you. I'm going to go by the name Havaya." Right, and I went over with Tara yesterday. We talked about how this generation in this day the Chumash from today, that they were an incarnation of the generation that built the Tower of Babylon, the Tower of Babel, and because of that, they were punished with having to make bricks. Do play guitar and bass, cool. Um, Okay, yeah, I got my son. I mean, that's just like me. I'm thinking the world is coming to an end, but it's just my a switch on my computer. I've done that before. Okay, so let's go into today's. So that was from yesterday. Um, so now they talk about all the lineage, and they talk about all the names of all the sons of Ruvain, Chenuk, Palu, Chetzron, and Carmi. So they go through. They mention all the names of the sons of the father of the tribes, and then they go through all these names, and then on and now the Torah resumes the narrative on the day that God spoke to Moses in Egypt. When God had spoken to Moses, saying, "I am God, tell Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, all that I am saying to you." And so, really, in tomorrow's parsha, he says, really, I can't really do this job. I'm not qualified. So I think this is really cool. And also the notion that Moses comes from Tohu. He comes from the side of Tohu. So he comes from a very high energy level. And because he comes from such a high energy level, that's why he's not able to speak correctly, because it's like too much spiritual juice and he can't really speak clearly. Thanks, man. Yeah, my son saved me on the brightness. Okay, so that's it. Let me just see the time because I we wasted a little bit of time. Okay, so it's 11:30. And you guys have any comments on this? Anything that comes up for you guys? Yeah, I know I'm in a lot of different places, but I mean, does this thing ring true with you guys about this, that we all feel unqualified to do our job? And in a way, we're all like Moses. We all have to go to Paro, which is our like our other inclination, our animal inclination, and say to Paro, you got to let me go, man. You got to let me do my thing. You have to let me connect to godliness. So we all have this struggle inside of us, and then we say, oh, we can't do it. It's too much. Um, that I think is pretty cool. What happened last night, Erwin? I mean, I don't know if something happened in the world, but we had a Zoom meeting with Ruth and Patricia, and it was very. I found it very rewarding. It was really touching. I mean, it's nice. Hey, Aldo, in Quebec. Wow, that makes me feel like fishing when I think of Quebec. I went canoeing a few years in La Andrea. We drove like a zillion miles up north. Yeah, God uses ordinary men to do extraordinary things, right? I got back on. Yeah. Hey, Carla Joe. Yeah, and my son fixed the brightness. Yeah, they try to make us feel insignificant. Yeah. That's what I get. And also I think that forces not my thing. Yeah. Some pack, yeah. It's a little harder to really, stay focused because there's I mean, I find other people quite interesting. So I was having a very nice time finding out about Patricia and Ruth last night. Um, but this idea that we all have a mission to do, right? And oh, I know what I was going to say, that when I was growing up in a secular world, I always felt like I had to do something like really important to prove myself, to prove that I was worthy of existence. But you don't get that when you live in a religious community. There's no, I mean, people almost make fun of people who really want to like become super powerful or super successful. It's not really the norm. But in the secular world, in order to stand out, and I know also that the kids that I taught in school, I taught more kids from the hood. That they were very absorbed in this idea of becoming, rich and famous, and because I think it stems from a kind of an insecurity that is put on us by the fact that we're slaves here. Purpose is, yeah, it's critical. That's Viktor Frankl. I'm a big fan of Viktor Frankl and the idea of having that it really helps you survive. Tara, why do you say it sounds like they're going to crypto? Is that about the quantum financial system? Because I mean I got the impression yesterday, I was doing a little research. I got the impression that the financial quantum financial system is not far off. And this really like plays into the Parsha too, I think, because it's really about let my people go. Let us out of debt slavery so we can function without having to worry about money all the time. So I think this morning's video I tied QFS, the quantum financial system, versus the Great Reset, where they'll really bring us into slavery, and we'll be totally beholden to them for all our needs. Encourage yourselves. Covetousness, covet, covetousness. Well, I'm not exactly sure what that means, Basement, but maybe you'll explain it. Right. Yeah, QFS for sure. I'm planning to do, there's a guy on Telegram. His name is Mel. He has a channel called Nasara and XRP. And we're gonna do an interview together at 1 o'clock after I finish with you guys. Yeah, it is a mitzvah to learn. I mean, I had a discussion with a rabbi about whether it's not really like a Noahide's like purpose to learn, but I don't see how that contradicts in any way. To covet, desire what others have. Right. Gotcha. That- You're coining a phrase. Right. Yeah. And to know that at any time. Also, Patricia talked about saying Tehillim, about saying Psalms, and um, I'm not sure. Did you send me a message on Gmail? I'm kind of like all over the place. Um, right. So I think and so also there's the idea. They also say that Moses was the most humble person that ever lived. And it doesn't say that he was humble in like that he was meekly, I think that's the word, that he was just like wringing his hands saying, like like Fagin, was it Fagin Char- in David Copperfield, or one of those there's one Dickens thing where there was a guy who was always saying, I'm so humble, I'm so humble, I'm humble all the time. That's not the kind of humility that Moses had. Moses was most humble because he really knew his level. And he said that if somebody else was on my level, they might have done more than I did. Yeah, right. Yeah, the Hollywood, the Moses Hollywood. I mean, because Hollywood is such a cesspool of really evil stuff. But Moses was a real leader, and the whole idea of a Jewish king is that he has nothing of his own. That's why I'm a little bit puzzled by people that don't understand why Mr. T got the medical treatment. I think he's just, I don't think he's doing it for any selfish reason. I think he's probably has something, you know, some ulterior motive. Some he's trolling them or something. Jeez, I just got a text saying we may owe you money. I mean, that sounds like QFS, right? Right. That could be what Hollywood. I know there's the holly tree, which oddly enough was my father's, and in my family they all loved growing holly trees. I even have one outside. What do you think about Christian believers who understand the coming of Mashiach, but know that one coming before him will deceive? Yeah, I think that's pretty weird. I mean, to me, that sounds like the cabal. Like the cabal is setting up, like whoever comes forth and has those qualities. And we have a book that it's a very short thing, but in the Rambam, it writes out, if you go online and you search for the qualities, for the things that Mashiach, that the Messiah has to have in order to be considered Mashiach. It's not a very long list. It's like 2 pages maybe. Um, but this whole idea that a fake Messiah is going to come first, I mean, it just sounds like that gives people an excuse to kill whoever rises up. Yeah, I agree with you, Richard. That's what I'm thinking about this whole thing. And that's why I'm a little dismayed that there's so many people. Hey, Karen, so good to see you. I missed you last night, but I don't know. I think, yeah, right, right. That's interesting, Robert Kesson. Yeah, because I mean, from what I've heard, that non-Jews are, understand the concept of Messiah, and that's very important that everybody's on the same page in terms of, that there is somebody coming. I'll have to check it out, Patricia. You guys are so well informed. You do so much research. I mean, I'm kind of envious in a way that you're such purists. I always, my research is usually more about finding out about Atlantis and the Dumbs and ETs and that kind of thing. Yeah, but there are a lot of people that say we should be thinking in terms of, being preparing ourselves for the new times. That's an important part of bringing the end of Gullus and the beginning of Geula. Yeah, I agree with you, Karen. I absolutely agree. Right. To have brain. There's a saying in Hasidus that what in Jewish learning usually like two Jews learn together, like two guys or two women will learn together, and it says that they have two Yetzer Tovs, two holy souls against like one Yetzer Hara. Like they try to like overpower the evil inclination by having two people trying to stay on task. Plausible deniability. Yeah, that's a nice phrase. I have to check that out. I have to check out Rabbi Kessin. He's a Lubavitcher. He's I don't know where he's from. I'll have to check him out. I think it's so wonderful that there's so much information being shared on the web. It's so beautiful that there's so much information. You have Manis, you have a choice. I mean, in the old days, you had to go to a synagogue to hear a rabbi speak, and now you can you can just you can just with a few clicks you're in a great learning situation. This is and the Rebbe really stressed this. He really stressed the value of using technology to do good things. New York and Israel. Huh. Nice. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing about Trump that he's not perfect. I mean, he's like the characters in the Bible. They're not perfect, and that's what makes us, makes them lovable and makes us understand that we're not expected to be robots. Yeah, it doesn't sound like such a nice choice. Eternal hell is probably not such a great choice. Um, one from column A, one from column B, right? Anyway, let's delve. Let's just spend a half a second delving into the uh, the Tanya for today, just at least to touch on it. I'm going to read this. You know what? I'm going to read this. This is because this you guys are sort of advanced. This is sort of an advanced thought, but it says this is daily Parsha insight. This is for Monday. It says they are Aaron and Moses, to whom God said, take the Jews out of Egypt. They were the ones who spoke to Pharaoh. They were Moses and Aaron. Allegorically, Aaron signifies our intellectual bond with God, while Moses signifies our intellectual bond with him. In other words, our bond above the intellect. So too, the Israelites signify our divine nature, while Pharaoh signifies our human animal nature. Right. Therefore, when discussing how to speak to the Jews, Aaron is mentioned before Moses, since it is usually good to have the intellect to arouse our inner divinity and generate feelings for a love of God. You have to start with the intellect. Our divine side can respond to logic and philosophical explanations. But when discussing how to speak to Pharaoh, Moses is mentioned first. For in order to get the human animal side of our personalities to answer God's calling, intellect and logic are usually not sufficient. We must emulate Moses, exciting it with supra intellectual revelations of God. It is therefore important to recount how God has performed miracles for us throughout our history, even up to the present time. So we can approach God with our intellect. We start with that, but we have to go above that. Yeah, Tuvia Singer's genius, absolutely. Oh, and explaining the things about Tuvia Singer's really good, very passionate and beautiful speaker. Right. I mean, there is the sense that that's idolatrous, but it's not, for maybe from a strict Noahide, but it's not idolatrous for somebody who practices the religion. Or maybe, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to even go. I don't want to go there. I'm not qualified. Yeah, I don't think, Aldo, I don't think this conversation is really going to really, this is really the best place for this. Um, yeah. I mean, there is, the Noahide laws, you know, whatever. Anyway, so let me just at least touch on the Tanya because I'm running a little low on time because this is really the heart of Tanya. We're talking about, um, yeah, this is chapter 12. Right. They talk about preventing the evil from gaining supremacy and dominion over the city. The city is called the body. Okay, Aldo, be good, man. um, and carrying out its craving from the potential to the actual by clothing itself in the organs of the body. Right. So there's this fight over the small city. American Idols. Interesting. Wow, I wonder what caused Aldo to come onto our channel. Um, So, and they talk about the mind heart connection, right? So, furthermore, even in the mind alone, with respect to sinful thoughts, the evil has not the dominion and power to cause him, God forbid, to to think such thoughts consciously. So, the idea in Tanya is that even if you get a thought that's a strange thought, you don't have to really entertain it. In other words, you don't want to take it from your intellect and start to ruminate on it with your emotions, because once it gets developed, you're gone. You can't stop it. Once the thought really becomes, once you start to process that thought. So the evil thought that rises of its own accord from the heart to the mind, right? So, right. So you don't want to enter. So if something comes in your heart, also you don't want it that to take over the small city, and then if the emotion, if the desire that will capture the mind to figure out how to bring this desire into fruition, instead of the other way around, where the mind thinks, I want to fulfill my holy purpose, I want to do good things. And then it comes into the emotions, how you do it, instead of like having an emotional experience and then letting the mind, figure out how to manifest that. So this is really like key Tanya. So, and he who willingly indulges in such thoughts is deemed a rasha. Really, like a rasha is like an evil person at that moment. So, if you get a thought in your mind, you want to push it away with both hands before it starts to develop. Yeah, Manis is great, man. I've actually talked to Manis. He's a very nice guy, very very unusual thinker. I mean, people say that I don't know if it was you, Richard, who said, but people say if, like you ask Manis a question and you expect a certain answer, and he comes up with something totally different, which is really beautiful. That was in my case when I spoke to him. I came to ask him a question, and he came up with a thought that was completely I never expected him to say. Actually, yes, is it Yossi Jacobson? Yossi Jacobson many years ago did a very interesting talk on Islam. You have to go back. You probably have to go way back and search that one because that was many years ago. But he did a brilliant thing about Islam, and that Muhammad had been rejected by the Jewish community. I mean, it was the whole thing. Yeah, lived on a farm makes spiritual life a challenge. City life a spiritual challenge, right? And unless you live in Crown Heights, when you're surrounded by Hasidim. I actually live on the outskirts of town. I don't know if I mean when I was first married, I lived right near 770, right near the big synagogue, and it was a very different experience than living where I do now, which is kind of like outside of the main center of Chabad. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. So it's just like we have to oh, and this is also important. They not only with sinful thoughts in terms of like thoughts of desires that are not good for you, but also in terms of criticizing other people. If you feel like you're about to like think a thought about being critical of somebody else, you want to push that thought away as quickly as possible and replace it with something else. Right, natural disasters, but how much of that is controlled by the cabal? I mean, it seems like they had the technology to do all kinds of things throughout history. So, we want to be careful about that. I mean, critical thoughts of others or even critical thoughts of yourself also really need to be pushed away. I mean, I think that's almost more important, but it's really the same thing. You don't want to think, put yourself down internally. I mean, that's what the Kabbalah expects from you to be completely intimidated and feeling, not good enough. Any thoughts on Tanya about this? Not letting thoughts ruminate in the small city in your body, pushing them away and letting your mind control your heart instead of your heart controlling your mind. These are really like key principles to Tanya. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity based on lies for sure, and distortions of truth. I did a lot of work on myself in that area for quite a few years to really study the inner voices in my mind that I'd grown up with, that were critical of myself and critical of others. I really worked very hard to examine those kinds of thought streams. Shimon Kesson. I'll check it out. Delusions about from others and self. Yeah, a lot of real distortions. All right, so let's wrap it up for the day. Today is Monday, so we'll do this again tomorrow, and Wednesday we'll have a night meeting. I'm gonna do everything on this channel for now, all the live meetings. I'm gonna stay away from the other channel because one more strike and I'm out. Yeah, you have to be on guard. Yeah, and but on the other hand, Carla Joe, I'm thinking that sometimes, like sometimes you can have a beautiful thought about someone, and it's not necessarily, you know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure, but I think to get into a good space of like a feeling good about things is always good. Amen, Delmer. Thanks so much. Okay, so we'll see you guys tomorrow, God willing, and I guess we're back in action now that I can. I'm going to use the other channel just to write notes to you. I'm not going to post anything on the other channel. I'm going to do everything on this channel for now. All right, guys, have a great day and make it productive, and don't be hard on yourself with these thoughts. I mean, we're all learning how to do this. Okay. All right. Be well. May the force be with you and God bless.